Aside from tightness, the parts inside of the controller may be the issue. We'll start with the most important part, which is the D-pad rubber. Depending on the manufacturer, different pads have different stiffnesses, but will either be categorized as clicky, which require more pressure to press down, or mushy, which require less pressure. After conducting a poll about which pads players use, most players prefer having clickier pads, but there are still a good number of players who prefer mushy. Those who prefer clicky say that mushy D-pads tend to drop inputs and that the clickiness is able to give you live feedback of how your rolling is. Those who prefer mushy say that rolling flows much nicer on mushy pads and that the less pressure needed makes it easier to account for if one of your fingers doesn't roll hard enough. For me, I would say I lean more on the mushy side since I prefer not worrying about how much thumb pressure I'm putting on. However, I won't play with any D-pad that's so mushy it doesn't even feel like I'm pressing on it. Keep all these differences in mind when you start rolling, as one type of D-pad may suit you better than the other. If you're looking to buy spare parts, OEM pads, which are the original pads used in official controllers, usually tend to be more mushy since they've had over 40 years of use, whereas third-party pads are typically more clicky since they use a different material and haven't been broken in yet. However, if a pad is too stiff and you'd like to play with something looser, I'll direct you to this tutorial by the player Wallband about how to cut D-pads to reduce stiffness. Wallband has been a great help with this section of the guide in general, so be sure to check him out. Something else to note is that your pads may tear after long periods of usage, so if your rolling consistently feels off no matter how you alter your technique, it may be due to a broken D-pad. If the buttons just don't feel like they used to, it might be a good time to open your controller and check if any of your pads have ripped. Alternatively, the pads may be fine, but the motherboard is the problem. This may be the case if you have random spurts of inputs or if nothing you do is registering. To fix this, you could clean the motherboard using alcohol, however I found much better success with just swapping out the faulty one with a good one.